So then I so go to Jai Samal Samji.
Okay, let's start. Tishdele, everybody.
Then I so three Ligu Jendro Savari, Jonjik, Roa, Tombo Chanchuk, same good paying Ligu, and Nipatupa Shapi Ligu, Samba Chanchuk, same song Ligu, Japa Payo Ligu, the Ligu Jendro Savari, Tatting up Alingons Gare.
So, Geshe is teaching the text by Shantideva, The Way of the Bodhisattva, or Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Oh, yeah, here, now the books have arrived again. So at least there are three.
Then the Chindua.
No, so, and in the past classes, Geshe talked about the benefits of bodhicitta, confession of negative deeds, commitment to bodhicitta and conscientiousness. And now today, Geshe is going to start with the chapter on mindfulness and alertness.
Last one, Taterang not to live up a Shivja song, Zayatresha, Shivja song is Zena, Tamato Chuchewa, the same the song go, raise the same song, Kill the Tapshila, Jambat and Shijans in Nishigore, Tatiga, Shivjang, same song on the Shigore.
Yeah, so this is a chapter which teaches on mindfulness and alertness, or introspection, sometimes as it's translated, which means to protect our minds.
So then legal Jipag and the Lingapag Jocha Sundra or the carry, and so same day opposite song go, same song I got tabla Jambata Shivjin shows there, Jocha Sundra or the Tini Nang do. Jocha Suduna.
That was basically saying the same thing. So that's the main topic, main subject of this chapter: how to protect our minds, and the two methods for doing this is being applying mindfulness and introspection or alertness.
Tandis Sholoka Tombo Titonda the Carrizina, at so same day opposite song go and do same the song, same Germany, the same day opposite song go remato, same the Masona. Not so La Passons at Yon Marizo, La Passons at the suit that Gani Mache or the Chancho Sepiccio Pache de Oti, a drip chocolapa, the Gau chocolate, and Tenchotamanta Chonishi Nita, Songo ya Chochik, Mil Nokia, some lotus or Songo, Choching, Mil Pentoyag, Lecata Chego, same songs in a t-shirt, so the same day of Pochic Son Matona, and Jig Lap Chat, so Son Yon Marizo.
Indeed. So the first verse in this text on page 64 on top, where that talks about how we can protect or guard our minds, and which is all about, which practices we should, apply or practice, or the virtues that we should engage in, and the activities that we should avoid, or the negativity, the non-virtuous actions that we should not engage in. And in other words, this has all to do with, how we can benefit others and avoid harming them.
Honey, Nipa Sholoka Nipa Karshoti, same Lambo Chechila Pega or Pena, same the Lambo Cheta which you raise. Go Dapotuni Majam Nika in a Lojana Lambo Chechik to meet Nyam the Tanjana Cochachunda Mandrasi, non Jamanda Chegawas. Dear Nanja, as the same the Dapo Majam, same the guy in a Tanjana, Malano Pacua. Majam do same Kegri, Sochendo, same Kegri, Chazashendo, same Kegri, Militrishan Jamdo, same do Leondi. Teni, Sechmala Nava Kiata, Tenjing Nason, Nandro Tanyava Lasso Pachiago, no Hajan Chimochegris, a Lambo Chig no Pachialia, Duchik no Pachigris.
And in the second verse, the mind is compared to a crazy elephant, wild elephant that runs around and makes all sorts of mischief and destroys all sorts of things. And it is said that the mind that is untamed, or if we do not guide our minds, then we give rise to so many negative thoughts, and then engage in all sorts of actions which even have worse results than just a crazy elephant which runs around wildly and destroys so many things. A negative mind and then negative actions, they can even have that result that leading us into a bad state of rebirth in the future.
Yapoche Naya, same Gongoli, Lapoche, or Pena, Nyange Zandro, Seva Zandro, Jampan Zandro, Chancho Kusen of Jimbata, Satum of Zopata, 20 Lasopa, Sama Yapot, Chenaya, Semri. Any Dugpo chena yang semre sochon do match palendo kama jam do ziata no se friction ja samba sama sem yin sonsa sem de dapo ja na shu chena shu ka chen bo se go zo tanda ya tel su de sem ta ya po chi dapo ja go songo yore.
Yeah, so here the stress is really on the importance of protecting or guarding our minds, because it all depends on our mind, yeah, whether we tame it or not, or guard it or not. If we do not protect or guard our minds and tame it, then it's easy to give rise to all sorts of afflictions, and then engage in killing, stealing, whatever, deceiving others and whatnot, which has all these negative consequences. But in turn, all these positive qualities also very much depend on the mind. Yeah, giving rise to loving kindness and compassion for others, engaging in the 6 perfections of generosity, ethics, patience, and so forth. It all comes down to the mind.
Laso tandi sholoka sambati kan karta korezeti ma sem data lambo che le pe jani sem ga lambo che ta pa kanjo monjo jugme chini tawala chamba yin chi ma chi tongo reze wo chamba kati na saulo tani ni sem de dukchal ndu yapo ndu yapo saulo tani chamba ga takpa ga sem ga lambo che ta pa ta jana ani nyota tsama tani ma jingro ma ze pena dupi sem socho pala sopa dupa lenji kumari te manjik sonza chima nyawa la sopa kiwa yungo mari te maza gewa go chopa gimbata sro la sopa lenji ni o kyong sho me mayon wa ta yonde sho yon wa tsama tel sem de yapo chik tato na tini legres.
So then the third verse again talks about a crazy or wild elephant that can be prevented from running around wildly and destroying so many things. And so likewise, what we can do with our minds, we can apply mindfulness, meaning that, we have to be careful and, watchful, and prevent our minds from, turning towards the negative side and engaging in all sorts of negative actions, but then in turn, be careful and mindful that we, engage in positive actions and so forth.
Laso tani di sholoka ni to yang sem son ta chi shan de tan de le chenzen mombo chi ke chenzen ro mo tarnie mombo chi pe na ta ta sange ta lambo che ze an ro ta ni juice ze an ni de nga so ma ja ni ge ja ze an ro ta tani sem cha nyawa kor chi shi ayo re nyawa ge so ma ze an ro ta ni nam lum pernie ta simbola so pa tan ji ge ja ma ja nga so le no pa chi ni shu mombo chi yong res no pa chi ni shu mombo chi yong res ta so go sem de da po ya po chi gyap to na te no pa to so ma yong wa ge ta yong ma re ze ore sem da chi po ta pe na te ta tam cha ta pa yin ze sem de pa ta pa ge ta ni ja ja na ko so cha ma lang bo che da ta seng ge ta zhi la so pa cha ma ta pa da chi ban ro chang ro re ko so ta ka yo ma ra
Sema du dan tak dan da.
Ko so ta so so ge sem de ta ja na ko so ta wa da chi pa re sem de tul ja na ko so tul wa da chi pa re lam.
And then verses 4 and 5 then talk about tigers, lions, elephants, bears, snakes, and all other forms of enemies, the guardians of the hell worlds, evil spirits, and cannibals, and so forth. That, as it says here, that will be bound by binding the mind alone. And if we are able to, subdue them, subdue and tame our minds, then we will not be harmed.
That is fine. La so tani ta de so le chi kensa no chi ra ta so sem de son de na ta ta sange ta zi ta so nga so le so ja ma re we so ma ja wa tan ri yong re we se na ta chi cho chi ni te na ka le ka pon chi re ta na chu na ni ma she ton chi na nga so ta sange ta zi la so nga so ja te so le ngam ba sa pin je re ze go le du ja sa le du ja ta ma so ni le te ya po chi ka ji so na te so go no pa ta ran jing ko ta sange tan la so pa go so ja wa tan ji mutu ya go so lam ro ya po ji kre so wo
Miki bele la tening at tag la
so ju ji so ja na so le ngin ba sa pin je re ma to ta zium so ta le te ya po sa na so ran jing gang ro re ze wo re jen se ya po chi so ni de na nga dru so ma ja kar pengre ta ka so ma ja kar pengre sa ni to ba za ro
Suzuki sem dul na de
Magge na me yin son ta magge me pa cha so na te so ma ja cha kare la wo
and it said that, say if we are bitten by a snake or harmed by whatever these animals or whatnot, or by an enemy, then this is said to be the outcome of the negative actions that we have done in the past. But if you do not create negative actions by having attained mind and so forth, then there will be no, if you don't create negative causes, then we will not be harmed or have any negative result.
And the logic pain was the natural Geshe in the concept of pain. A marked out and Gashiki, Lilam do port your Micho much on the into a tasty sugar. Menda Jamna Zupol Mamma for a natural share.
Su, Menda.
Jambangal Menda
Michel surround Menda.
That's a natural put in Sonson the Azure. Sonson the Cosupotely on the Menda social show Marese. Cosa?
No, mi sembra sussurrando Menda Giabna,
Menda Chogo Mar, I'll put over Mar.
Kisi?
Two Mar is non Chicheval. Chilla Tanichior.
Alenang Chichibaina, Sem du Lasapa gave us up.
Dotsatina, also a Mardia and Roti, Tendigan Sonson, they are the Lilio, and that's all Menda Gianas for the Mapu Yomar.
Ah, so is Sem Chichibaina. There's apparently in the commentary of His Holiness in the Tibetan version of the text, there's a story or an example given that one cannot be harmed if one engages in the practice of Dharma. We cannot, like even if someone were maybe trying to really harm or shoot one or what even, then but having engaged says then one cannot be harmed if one has the Dharma practice.
At the share the carriers and I'm teaching a so conyo, Martin, so Popa Hajan Yichimbo Chirela, Tinguinitan Ramombo Chonguyor. Mendagana Machuat.
You might not have heard that very much, but we as Tibetans we strongly believe in these things. That one due to the merit or the blessings of the Dharma, that one cannot be harmed.
Among so Ponia Trabata so Jag Mendagania Trony on Yukabla, not so gagla, so you might go to Trabachil 2 songs. Bomb Gujashas, Cola. Bomb Gujan Mazupo, Dulo Kangareni, Dulo Opposition Lhamandus. What town Cheta, Johnny on the news, Taco Mazetal Chutra opportunity in the Tambom Gujan in the ditches on the what town Chenny lessons.
Tang Cheso.
Uncle, there's the same Chichani lesson like.
Same teacher. In a conquer Nutse Chumason. In a
Killa songs, Dulo Summer Resha.
In Korang Nutse Chumason. There's a story of a Tibetan apparently who escaped from Tibet, and he must have been in a situation where a bomb exploded very close to him, which kind of tore his robes apart. But he himself was totally unharmed. I mean, he got back tired, I guess, from the escape, but nothing. He himself was not harmed. Just the robes were torn apart.
Ani Korot same carry Jotan Registration, Masil Chucheri, Tayon at the Bongo Cowl and the Dilores, and Korosemba Hajan Kyoshazi. Again, number so Kosoropatazo. Kuzubol Chekan Chemandola and the case Amlochitan is in. Oh, Kuzubol Chekan Chemandos in Jinico, Koronan the Chikini, Gabon John Shasi. Katuhako Maracom Bom Japsara, Kosemba Jota, Choni, you.
I come Jan,
Zubol Cheche Omeoke, Nombo Chambal and Corio Samara. Jupchat that is Zubol Chekan Cheman, the Diloriat. Jinico or Tan Juksha Sami.
And it talked about Cheso, Tempashomas.
Chembatan.
And she saw them.
Tambo Corol Menda Macho Hakoyo Mare, Tagaz Dulo Rejaticos Sem Shichata Choyora.
Well, maybe he was in a kind of, at least great surprise, or if not shock or so, that person that, but then, maybe once he recovered and others told him, hey, this and this happened and you are totally unharmed, then he was greatly relieved.
Nani Niton Laji, Sangazo Palian Javishi Javni, Michigan the Jungle Pamenda, Paris on the Yalan, the Chekan Chemandula.
Anke, Michemba, and then there was another incident of a monk who was apparently shot at. It is in Geshe-la's home area. But he wasn't harmed really by it.
So that's over. The Chunda, which in a Jambaga Nopa Mayon, Yichi Chimboya Chegi Yorela, then you Pontachi, Mombochi Rara de Yor. We need to go in Nopa Mayon.
I know that there are apparently many witnesses, or many people who witnessed, accounts like this of, people, I mean, not being harmed, but having been attacked, but having remained harmless.
Unharmed. Same year posona tata sengita so nga so no panchi che marezi ni chikshe sara tenaj menda gyavya tanga so popal yichi yo maze jimal gyami ga mami ya gyamni ta so kosole yichi nduzere koso tenji takandra o ta tenji ndramandra to ambana juni yongudula maze tanju taja
Gyami tama gyami yang ni che.
gyami korotso ye ten ta chelam ta so yo na menda mucho ya ta ko undula Ani Geshe Rangrig nduzeti koso papan tu poine ta kala mambo zani papan tu poine manda machore zani Geshe tindi jaga nduze mende macho koso keleng ndula
Kala ya posa deni
papan tu pochan yoma yo mara den Geshe chinchalo jagora
But even apparently at a later stage, even the Chinese also started to believe these things that, but they had certain other reasons for why that was the case, that maybe the people, having been attacked but were unharmed, they ate very well, and then they had, I don't know, thick skin or something, I don't know, other reasons than the Tibetans.
Man last tatente shemo go content go no paziate goya yo patni yichi che gore la tende chi yo sari ro What is it? That's what I'm so kangar yon at the tamate, the water carcio, not so kanga yon at tamate, same gozo de yores, a word tanda, same your poaching on the kanga mambo chingoto at the shaking door. Are, Tenage, kanga yon at tamate, same goniche words, pena control on, ani no simple, so simple, sorche. Zanshendo ki zanshe tani cheni pasho lango kortan tani guleka dikchandra manda chewala tani nan tel tani sendal tiama wa chemal ki pa ma nam diri tu se tani yongu yore ze wor.
But anyway, what this is saying is that all is based on the mind, and it is the mind then yeah. It is the untamed mind that makes one, engage in all sorts of negative actions, which then leads to all sorts of negative outcomes.
Yes. Last tanda ti water carcio or resitita, not so Nachu Nala Nyava Zeata, Yeta Zeata, Tenji Dukashu share yore, Tangato Ling in Basatanjina Nyava Lekienjo, Nyava Lekina Nyava, Chonchandra Manda, Toviatani, Ma Satsama Metsini, the Chasaka Sagio, Tenjingola, Dupo Nyawachi Shore, Telendeshi Gawore.
And then continue on to page 66 with verse 7, it talks about the hell realms. Which are said to be full of weapons and burning grounds and all sorts of other, situations one, meets up with, which create a lot of suffering.
Also Dupandra Mandasani, Leka Ducati, Che de Valateni, Tasso Sosol, Tangal Duponyong, Zupo, Mel Song is to portrait of Sons and the Tenico at the Genatamoyon de Reservoir.
And then it is said that all these, various forms of suffering, as such as in the hell realms and so forth, that also come about due to negative states of mind and then negative actions that one has created.
Last tenant time dixel to persons de Sangi Chodan de Sedina, Matonia Dingerzeni Dingakan and Mombo Nyon de Atatenia Dingamanayan, Sendalina Kang and Mombo, Chignon de Atasoso, Yoba Marabche, Majambala no Pakinja, Manda Dupandra Manda Sapitina, Macanyares, Tina Mazenatin Jebu Canyares, or Tin Jepu and Sonsani, some matter Dupi Semli join, but Tapasangi Chodan de Sonchas.
And then it continues on to say, the Mighty One has said that all such things are the workings of an evil mind.
Natol Nyava Maina, Natol Kangayon, the Atama, the Soso Yoba Marabchia and Japanese, and Jim Basangi Sonchas.
Yeah, so saying that, the Buddha himself has said that all the hardships, the problems and whatnot we go through, we experience, all come about due to an untamed negative state of mind.
Tena jikte sambona semlin jikpanga ya mezidi ta counter jikte samzea jikse or na chu tan lai jikte perme jikte wo le jikte samdi na la ta pa te sona semli jenan tawa jiktawa ni mandus.
And then, hence, within this three world spheres, there's nothing to fear other than my mind. So this, and here, when it says the three world spheres, it refers to the God realm, the human realm, and the realm of the Nagas. But that it says also that in any of these realms, it's really the mind that we have to be aware of, or I mean, be fearful of.
Last one, ta same the dukyachi area or the yapochi area the country yaso kangal same the yapo shol chesona yapo shuchi girayore dubo shol chesona dubo shuchi girayo sonta yadu karang dry and aruso lapali union chadeore so
yeah, so and then it cannot go I mean the mind and how we train it, or it can go in either way. It can go in the negative direction, but it also can likewise go in the positive direction. But it is in our hands where we wherever we can lead our minds, as it were, to go, or whether we tame it or not, it depends on us.
Te sem son zeti tanya marere le jokinga moni gonda parte so saulo nalas semba dikasha andu te so ya pojimji chegore mi jamba chile samna chea gachi Trishan Jawa Samlo Yanari, Chazashia Saulo, Chik Sego, Togo Saina, Kamaja Gosayanari, they might be Malasamna, the Keg and Yapota, control and Dochala Sopa, Chato, the Keg and Duta, Yomongo to Yama Tapala, so we get a Keg Yomo Yapo, Jimji Chegore.
So and we are advised to investigate and analyze, observe our minds on a daily basis. Does it go in a negative direction, for example? Are there any afflictions arising in our minds, or do we want to engage in deceiving others and whatnot? So we, on a daily basis, we are advised to investigate our minds.
Last for Tetri yo Hakon Lamsan de Watatri Tajishia Nage, so Gang and Sama Yon said that so on said any zonte Samjani Lamsan Kiemato, that's all my mepazo, Tablan Chegore, Mekiata, Lodikiona.
And then, so if we then keep on analyzing and investigating, if once we notice our mind goes into the negative direction, we have to then apply means to not follow upon it, as it were.
Then it doted the Jamba Seva La Sopata, Gimba Tatsutum La Sopala, Batsoche, Goriki, and Dutani, Kegmena, Tatsola, Batsoche, Chamse, the Atikatangazo, Hajani, Zawa Chimbo and Zamuli, Chamse, Kachashini Mombo, the Chamse Lalitani, Yono Shuri, Chamse Lala Materna, Sama. One chest chiches on and also Mickey Matson, so I kiss a coroyo, and down the other chances may be consortium on Hajano. Jamse Mambo, you're in chicken. Jamse may be consortium on that, and so Mickey Matson, so Hajan can let him on
there are a lot of people in the world who talk about loving kindness, but actually very few who really practice it, who develop loving kindness. And if say in the society, if there is hardly anybody really developing a kind heart and loving kindness, then it creates a lot of problems for the people.
Tani majamba chamse che mandu milano pache so kepsan chanja chinro do ngai tani chinro gore ma to ngai chong ra kare tani sam chikata sam nigita sam sama ta cheti ani sama dikalo chochig rinro re ani jamba ga dikcha che yo na korso che re ngai tani che manye sam ni chamse la so pi jambang ga savlo ka che keto na tani mari so na kenso na le yarji chinro re konsan chokota na so ke am se chi la atapata che choso ya atapata che so atapata zena che shugyani matsechigliti ku chamse korla shugyaviens shugyaviens matsechigle lekate che yes ani choso ya shugyani lekache shotni son tinga so ya kanto tu che gore
chitsok nang la mi mangbo
chamse ta pa ya che ta
mi mangbo
chamse yong tabshi so che gore la mala yong tabshi che gore deli dote chamse go mare zin tindri ke che yo mare chamse gore.
Yeah,
Gore, no, so that go shall shig gore. yin chik munchik so ya jamsi nyamli che gore la mi jan la ya jamsi che gore zini shik jab shori konsan choko ya ke tanji che yo songu
Mi shembala yang chamse kira ya koyore.
oh ya tare konsan choko ta na ke che yo la kyo song che shok song sa te na jang so che gore
As His Holiness, I mean, himself, has this great loving kindness and encourages people to also give rise to loving kindness. And likewise, we are encouraged to do likewise, develop a loving kindness in ourselves and hopefully, have a positive impact on others or encourage others to develop the kind heart.
Re chamse mo ni ke chembo shu re nga so telen ton sha chini chamse mo go zini yu jati parishini pesha mambo yo sa ta ma to shu yo sa ta so mo sam se mo se ya chini ndra sigre zamboli ni se mo se so go chala chan ro chamse me na to shi chembo so se mo se ya chan ro re ta ja shu ta tani ani ta tani wali ma parche chicken go le yong re ni tsawa ja chini ro ye parche chick tele tombo gembi paru ta chimba ze ya ta kar re te ngoto chegre.
Anyway, then on page 67, Shantideva then continues on with the 6 perfections, of which the first one is the practice of generosity.
Tenga so gembi parchan ze ya che gembi parchan ze ya ta majam la chala chigre te ya tre keton ngema chigje ba gemba tel chu tang zong zong da manjik bi gemba ze ni sam se go re zong zong go gemba ze ya peshan ro zayan ro kwen ro tenji te ya tel zong zong go gemba ze re chu gemba ze ya ta ra chu shi ya tre magic begin by the solid theatre.
So so the first one of the 6 perfections is the perfection of generosity, and we talked about this earlier. There are, generally speaking, 3 types of generosity. The first one giving material things, and then the second one is giving the Dharma, giving Dharma teachings, for example, and then the last one is the giving of fearlessness, which refers to the I would say, protecting the lives of beings.
Last tani dikal jimbi paro the chimba shion di jimbi paro the chimba zina kar reze oti jimbi paro the chimba ngaso sem rang res te ma to pashol se on dita jimbi paro china sem che kanga worpoli kya gora pango me pazo gora wa sama gichimbo pesha yonjo zo gora zina te zo to asawani ni o maresir.
But here, the stress is that, what is most important is generosity in the practice of generosity, that it is a state of mind. It is really the willingness to give to others. It's not the purpose of the practice of generosity or the perfection of generosity is not to, to give everything to everybody, to make everybody rich and release them from poverty. It's really the intention, in the mind, the intention to give to others.
That and the sholoka chapatri land. The net Jimmy Paro the Chambazina Karja Goreziti. That's also Litan Lonkyo, Panjo, the Lasso Pacari, and Mijamba Guachi, and it Jacques and the same Tapak Saulotan, the Kio Sandrichil Goyo and Kicheri and the so Saulo and same Tapak Saulo the Kesona, Jimmy Paro the Chambazia, the Remato Pasho, or Potamaki to at Rio Maris.
Yeah, as it is expressed in the 10th verse. It is, the intention of the thought to give everything to other sentient beings. It's that intention is not literally giving to others everything and relieve them from their poverty. It's really the intention to give.
So nili karisongo resinam dordina sanje sora nalo shepi jambi paro tachamba zini keta chimbo matiam dordina saulo tantan chigrendu mungajente yo maris so sem gonani sama cheto sam goteni chonsona paro chimbare sare telim jan chachimbo chicholol tasamandus rwa tana sem sona sama sem sona ringro reze ya sem sona ringro achik teshe.
So that's one way of guarding one's mind, really the willingness, really the strong intention, the willingness to share and to give without to others.
Then you nipat parchan chicken and nipat certain parchas, certain parchan no pa pon with some logically jacore jambala no pa meche some logically.
And then next comes the practice of ethical discipline, which is the avoiding the harming of other sentient beings.
And so that no pa meche sayata puki nyala sopa lamdo chachik bat li sholo kap chach nyala sopa ta semcha kanta ina ta no pa kyoni nyota message kyopo chi le tsama kyobja to sona tsatam paro chambare zena tandi tsawani ni cheto ayo mares ko so masse sa ta tandi chi le kyoni nga so jato ayo mares e ore.
So as then it is said in the 11th verse on page 68 that the practice of ethical discipline is not what is meant. It is not to avoid the harming of every sentient being.
Last, then ani tsatam paro chamba kan rezena soso sem tapani ta jamba la tsawani ne no ki me samni pe sama chi to ba jeden chi sha sa tsatam paro chamba tere ma to pa sho ko sem cham masya da tani sama chi zo to tsawani ne yo maris sem cham shi sa chi ki to tsawani ne yo maris.
Again, here ethical discipline. Here the stress again is on the intention. The wish not to harm any sentient being. We cannot possibly avoid that. Somewhere some sentient being is being harmed, right? But it's our intention to wish that sentient beings are free from harm, and that we ourselves do not want to engage in harming anybody.
Tani ta samba to zobi parchan da sheyong gore zobi parcha zena jambal kontro machia samlo chiri zogum chiatre. And
then the third perfection is the practice of patience.
Last tani Tandina la semcha masonam ka jete ta jongi yo malonzi ta te kar la de oriziti semcha jamba la chindra manda leka dikcha chia ta semcha dikcha matso la nakpo che de control on de atendri te pasam gi mekya pa chi da la so pa nga so no pa chi da la so pasam gi mekya pa chi yo son nga so da me pa zo da sama me pa zo gona te tsawani ni zo sa yo maris.
And here what is being said is that that there numerous so-called numerous enemies, but we cannot possibly eliminate them all.
Sonza tanga so karche go jame pabzo tapshu yakshor ta karizan so zogum che jatres te so zogum che jana pasho ko ngaso le tsina pola nare leka na po che nare kar che jana re ngaso lo no kito mare zeor.
But what is said again, boiling down to one's mind or one's state of mind or one's practice of the mind. So if we develop patience, then even if others harm us in some ways or you speak harshly towards us, that wouldn't affect us in any way if we have developed patience.
Tekatani tatel khpetel ti wotel khpechire pena satan de samat Kamba le tselma zikundu sani satan sama ko yokto ayo maris teli soso kamba wol ko ake pa chi yojana certain ko ayo pa ta chi parite na je da sama me pa zo matam na yo soso zogum che jana da sama me pa ta chi pa chando res.
And then again as is expressed on in verse 13 that we cannot possibly cover the whole ground or the whole earth which is full of thorns and other rough substances. We cannot possibly cover the whole earth with leather, right? But we can wear leather shoes to protect our feet. So likewise, if we develop patience, then we can in that way protect our minds, and no matter what enemies are, or however many enemies are out there and who want to harm us in some ways, but that will not affect us in any way if we have that practice of patience.
And in the sholoka chivjapat pe ya pochik sondu ta nab yang so sawlo ya potana te pen to sar aso so go sem te ya pochik da po ja tip cholo ren yero ka te sona aso le cheka no ki to mundus tam ni cholo len yawa ta ato chang chang ta de na aso miski ke cholo kan yawa te tsawani ni ta to mar cholo kan yawa se ta ram chong gun yawa ina ri gyan kan gun yawa ina ri ta panjo gun yawa ina ri kari na yawa se ta kor so go tuni panjo ti ngaso yawa tsawani ta to maris. So same thing you are matani lulu chiti the cholo kanga and so you are taja the chipachando raise in it is in the yaposh pent.
Chelo needs to give to mare
cholo no so ngatsu girto ayoma so same tata jede the cholo needs some you are the chikbares.
And the next verse talks about the impossibility. I mean we can't really change the outer environment, but we can change our minds. And in that way in a sense, one could say that by changing our minds, it's sort of like changing the outer situation.
La so nga tsi pe kha shi na pe na chalo ko pa jo shu ya jin ro ala te ni nga so e ti pan jo ki ji le ji lo ke ne si ju de na nga so ji mele ni ka le te ore pe na chala saba che pe ro cha gati mota saba chi to na ta mota saba ta ngal go ndu sa ni so ka le ja ka chi ni yan ta pa ka le ja ta pe sha sa ma to ni ka le shu chu ta te li so sem ja ja ni ngal mota de go chi o mari san lo che jo ta mota saba te to ve ta chi pa lo chi po chan ro re.
One may be, overly enthusiastic or, influenced by outer developments. Say, there are new cars on the market, and then if one has that strong desire to obtain all these things, then one might be overwhelmed. Might not be able to keep up in working hard and get all the money to be able to afford all these nice new things. But if one has that kind of like sense of contentment, thinking, oh, I don't need all these things, then that's kind of like, gives that then one that's kind of satisfaction in a sense, as if having obtained this car, but in a sense. But by having that sense of contentment, one doesn't have that wish to keep up with all these things.
Thế nào chẳng hạn sự kiến sau nào lần rồi đi vào là ta phải cho cái chết thằng mình ra mong bồi chỉ cái kế chim bồi giáo anh rồi ta anh đi chỉ ra mình ra chết thằng thì ngã cho xem ba mấy cái control on so càng ngày chơi đó thế rồi nè corso carci carci at corso hoàn chare ngaro xem ba tao bồi giáo ni lo rồi nè corso kế giáo shi me ata chỉ ba chang rồi
we might find ourselves in a noisy, disturbing environment with a lot of noise or whatever other disturbances. But if we tame our minds, if we remain in a kind of relaxed, calm state of mind, then all these outer things which otherwise might affect one will not bother one. So it's kind of like one will not be affected.
So then the sholo capture nga chajabat pe ya pochin tongu aso kadi ina so to chonza de chejati sholo ko korso karan de chejana tagi nga so sanzan la pe chi yarimba pena sanzan de china nga go sa sanzan de kison jamba de queen so to magasa de kison kadi ina ti che tonta control ani makashi de ni do ta to so you could sanzan ni jawa che kan tam do so te jawa tani so te nyama ta pa kangina jon de ni sanje na te ton do o te ni che yo mar so lo de ta so ke boyore.
I think this verse number 14 is really a good one. So we talked about another example earlier. Say there's an election and a new president or so we don't like is going to be elected, and then if we are upset with that situation, we constantly get agitated or find fault with that new president and whatnot. That's maybe not so ideal to go about it. But if we try to be relaxed and be in a calm state of mind, then we will not be upset.
Also tani zonji katle so parchitri jani tani try challenge in riksaro
Yes.
Tani matelin ro me tani ni kyo try challenge ta tani rendo.
Okay. I would not don't want to go any further in the text, but rather have some questions.
Lazo.
For those who have went for the Mo reading and then was told that they have karmic obstacle with the Naga, or the karmic obstacle with Naga, and in this lifetime they were told that they have to do many puja on the Naga puja to eliminate or reduce the obstacle. So does it help by doing contributing for the Naga puja?
Mikashi mo lama la dugura mo kya mo dugura ani samsam la mo lama kare sungi du sena o kyang di leki dewa di lu gi
No paris.
leki dewa yusare ani di la tene lu nugures kerang la ani shetsang shapten la chigre or shugura ko palato shapten lu ki nuche me pas kasa shapten shugura di pengarbe sigire
Te parchim peng union de chinuda Matsu Tanachuna Chinati Luzia, the killing or the Solo no Pandro, Chini, Sheson China, Kosol Nasandro, Lucoron, Nasandro, Tankangi Shucheriores, this gang in Cheval Tiningasol, Nipandro, Namandro, and Yota Leonguris, and you call a Losan of Turkey, Sanji, Son Union, and Rito, Lermanzia, Torreyor, the Rito,
Saya.
Chunal Torgo, for no patches. Turitena Lutu Yanasa Trasona, Natsu and Nasa Chandro at the Shiri.
Lukinatsa?
Luginasa Trasona, Nasa Chandro.
Elekonsukinatsa.
Natsu Lula no Pachami, Lucoro Nayon Res, Lunana Tina Mandu, Natsu and Nayon Res. They share your
The Tibetans have strong belief in all this Nagas and whatnot. And Geshe says, yeah, it would be beneficial to have pujas done. Or then there's apparently some medicine that one, I don't know, applies to whatever, where the Nagas are. He throws it into the water, what I don't know. And that would also say, sometimes people are affected, that you hear about Naga diseases, right?
Yes.
So, and if they are being benefited or, freed from...
Normally use the money pills.
Yeah, but that would have a positive effect on us also, he said. Some money, ribo,
Oh, Inger.
Yes.
Mozia, the Kensa Shuji, and some the 22 Kamarich, Pocho Tata Locore, Chincholo, some Muktayo in the Yaposhu Lauri, they love Shiachi Omare.
But yeah, I mean, most can turn out quite differently. Some are not quite correct, but some are exactly, to the point. But it's hard to say sometimes.
And the Nashitaki, tell Tanya and Richior. As I said, the Richaba Bound, and the Chaba Chuni Mumba, and some Chaba Tatan Bound, or Tindochi or Mozia.
These modes or divinations are like a weather app. Sometimes it's like totally wrong. Sometimes it's really, so exactly what they predict.
Tindochi or touching the Chelsea resin and Chelsea Chirimandu. Mulomba Koro Gimes at Sol, Shuchi Tata Lavia, something Chong. Mojanes.
Lung or
Lomba Jamba 20 Hamukos at Sol, Shushi.
Sometimes there are apparently people who make most related to people and countries, they have no connection whatsoever. So, yeah.
What about for those already passed away, like parents pass away? If they do the puja and do the dedications to the parent, would it be how helpful?
Alors, dene samsam susuki pama tongsa sane ro. Ani dene shapten kasa shap susu pama tongpa ki pama ki chido shapten shubaina konsu tong sane yang pengerbe shapten di.
Tatil teshe gore pena Natso Popal China Pamata Zotoni, Nima Jegel Japti Chiachi. Nima Jegacheti, Natso Pardo as Yachiora, Pardo at Nima Dun Nol Tongo Reservoir. That the Riri Tron on the Lite Yabochimato Yanjo Pardo Sekiona, Tetsu Lite Yapoto Pichete Japti China Pengu Reservoir. Takarsuko, Kiva Lensani, George Chicago, Kiva Lensana, Natso Japtin Road in China, Tisonum Garusolea Pengrela Colia. Tendala Kangemo at the Pengio Pati Chichegor.
I know, Kiva Lensane, Kabayina young Susurang Pengere.
Chicheni Sosolta Pay, Yichegor, the Corolla Pay, Yichegor.
Okay. So, I mean, you know this, that they usually do pujas for 49 days, during which, it's the maximum amount of days that, after passing away, they until they have a maximum time until they found a new body. And if not, then they're going to be born in another Baudo state and yet another Baudo state. But eventually, latest after 49 days, it's said for them to have another rebirth. Yes. But Geshe says then
years later.
For oneself, it's definitely of benefit doing pujas, but for them it can also be beneficial, even if it's later, if they're already in a new life.
Puja Yashurtan Takizian, the same Yapocha, Tili Yasu Chikan.
But the best puja is, taming one's or protecting, guarding one's mind. Sususem Diwara Sungwa is guarding one's mind. Other question?
For Bodhisattva vows, is there a difference for layperson and renounced?
Ale, the Jangchu Sempe, Dompa, di kola, the Mikiadang Rapjumpa Kipa Yorbe.
Yomari. Pachi Yomari. Chanchasebi Dombal Chikaparioma.
No,
So that Dombazi at Chapariora.
Yeah, what the Pratimoksha, so-called, or self-liberation vow is concerned, there's a difference, but not related to the Bodhisattva I was saying. Oh, yes.
This is a little more general, but I was wondering if you could speak to recognizing the difference between love and attachment and compassion and grief.
Compassion and grief. Okay, Ninje dang sem kyobo. Ra. Dang jampa dang duchak. Tige. Jampa dang duchak. Dang ninje dang sem kyobo. Dang
Nijezata Semkyoboina Soso Tondala Semkyoboyon Chokora Nijeziata Jangaton the Janga Dingarla Ezekyoachin Range Nijeziata Semkyopotan Nije Nila Petingadaran in Samari Nijetian Semkyobo Conton Isar Roa Yenayan Nijena Semche Jangachi in Goremung Sosogucheta Semkyoata Nijemari Tombo Tiniti Capricina.
Yeah, so
Semche Jangi Kanga Nyungu Natal Shatsa de Getel Nijela.
I mean, starting with compassion. Compassion is mainly, directed towards another person or another sentient being. Having compassion for them. And grief, I don't know if it's or sadness. Grief, I don't know if it's same, but Geshe says that's more related to oneself.
So dinner chile Semkyo Dena that Ninja is Amaro.
If one is upset, something in relation to oneself, that's usually not referred to as compassion.
Dochata Chambanil the Cabrachimboyos and Dochata at the page somebody charged. So some magic chetamong meal sound 20 time machine get any chaser.
Okay, but there's a big difference between love and attachment. Attachment is a very negative state of mind.
So magic chet Pata Dena Jan Saulo Tandi Zonro, so magic mato partial 20 Saulo Matani, the Nichiresha.
It's a very negative state of mind, attachment. It's only related, thinking about oneself, not about others.
They might say partial let you Yag Drotashi Chirendo. Dochazia to partial Yapo Shu Drotakarin, Dochazia the instrument partial Yanashan Kitchilin Dictai Chilin Dochakemar.
Attachment is when one really exaggerates the quality of something or someone else.
Chamsit Taramari, Jambal Deki Chon Rang the Saulo Tankishi, Dochatani Peti, Dochata, Jambanil Caricabrio, Joani Batero. When Chamsia the Tilly Dotti, partial Ran the Saulo, partial Pochona, Taran Soso, Dopa Condro Nitsumato, Soso with Chelly Cuni Saulo Yomari.
Yeah, so attachment is exaggerating the positive qualities of something or someone else. So, but in comparison to love or loving love, is directed only towards someone else. Mishambala. It's the wish to for someone else to experience happiness. Whereas attachment, if one sees that someone else is very fortunate, then one, because it's related strongly with oneself, then one is upset. Is it kind of answering the question?
I think so.
Can we take his question a little bit further and talk about the near enemy of passion, which is pity?
Pity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the near enemy because when you're cultivating them, you can do wrong.
And so the question is what's the difference between compassion and pity?
Yes.
Okay, so Ningje, how to say this? Da Ningje ngene china nangchunang la da yapo lo. Ine ngatsu samsamyang kasa hanes la kore. It's sometimes a bit hard to translate that one. Nga mikyopo chupo ingen wa. Mikyopo la ton Ningje aka. Ine Ningje ngene mare. 다가 통충 난다고 그래.
Moni Pashoko Kangel Shamatani Tazan Ninan Tonchor, Kangel Shasanati Nijere. Kokang in Chesonzani, Saulotani Kangitili Tarna Samsam Gudani Saulotana Niji Chakayor.
Yeah, di ninjing yun ere.
Niji Zia the Inchimuchi Pasha or Kangan Tongo, Kangamatoni Niji Kisamel.
对了，他的问题是 慈悲与那个同情心、同情那个的悲是一样的吗？
同情心可能是
同情跟那个慈悲是一样的吗？这是他的问题。
应该是同情是属于慈悲的。
He said, I think what Geshe associated it was more like pity has something with looking down onto someone.
不是
Compassion
可怜
you
的一个
really
哦，
see
这
the other
还可以
person suffering, you know, and
如果可怜的话，你会想给他帮忙吗？这个是而且可以这样的，但是你这个工作的，把现在脚步的下菜的人，对，你这人。
ne kepa yore.
Nijere taran, nijeze ya tenira, semcha kyobo ze na ngaso, semcha kari na nijeze ya yerle semcha kyobo mato yo mare. Jichembo ina ko kyobo re. Jichembo to pomo chembo to so nijege yere re ze na re, ko kyobo indi kare ze na nachu che na ko lenge basani nyawa ta yeta ta tenri le kewa jindin kore ko ni kange na ronde ndu samni shatsa de ora. Nijere te.
But there's different.
Krishna said that to pitiful, and then you arise the compassion. That's when you feel the person, you pity for the person, and then your compassion will arise.
慈悲的目标都是可怜的，
可怜的，
都是可怜的。
那慈悲也是要把那个苦出来嘛，就是要帮他拔出他的苦。
有这个想法，那是慈心嘛，慈心和悲心有一点的区别，理解和讲吧。
Because Geshe said is that when you pity somebody, you feel pitiful for someone, then the compassion will arise. So it based on the pitiful, then you arise compassion for the person.
Yeah, compassion is then going a step further, right?
Yes.
多那怕说的下菜一烧了，他们理解光肉，同上嘛呢？同上去。
Well, if one does not look down onto someone else, then pity is also a form of compassion. Die pity, intitola pity siri. Die samki, ngenechina di ninje na dine mishamba kangal dang dewa yongwa sho de pashe boyoro. Ini nga dagas ka ninje shatsa samlok tambaina.
这个，你这了么把这什么着去写过？这个的你这人，他国家里修去看到个什么，当然你这人，另外他转那样的转那到给家呀，等这个上了咱们这个，国家里头他上那年上的，等你上了，你这人。
Okay.
当上嘛的大点，当上着去你开始着去你隔壁家里是你开始去，等你这干也是吧？
Yeah, I mean, unless it's free from looking down on someone, then it is a form of compassion.
你这个人去没去怕说了，肉把钱投给你把药嘛的，但你拉什么这样的，他做压力用的是你肉把钱个烧了提用过啦。
Laksan kisona, didn't
但你当你这个什么烧了提用过是。
Yeah, if someone gives rise to compassion, then that doesn't necessarily mean to actively go out and help the other person. That comes again a step further. Once one has then, I mean, developed compassion and then given rise to the altruistic intention, then the wish will arise in oneself. Oh yeah, I want to do something about it.
어떤 일이 있어요? 박사님 가르쳐주세요. 어떤 일이 있어요?
Any questions online?
Oh, I never look at that.
안도.
Jennifer, compassion induces both giving happiness and getting rid of suffering from others. Please go on. Die konstige zustand compassion kaisa mishamba dewa teba 당 동에
自信悲喜
매 파소야. 당
人
이제 낭나라 영 그래.
应该张文的自信和悲心区别吧，张文的有区别。人间人呢，动物当真难三八的，
야.
占八人呢，对吧？当电难三八的。
그래.
我对你个讲白了，我自信悲心的拉的。
Hello. Yeah, so generally speaking, as per definition, compassion is the wish to, for others to be free from suffering, whereas loving kindness or love is the wish for others to have happiness.
你这办着我的，其实讲不没了我的，哪去呢？上路刚出的时候讲不嘛，我这个要难这个。在你这办着我的，这个要难这个两个人，讲不到你这你看这办着我，这个对吧？他头那三百，这个顶啊他占那三百了哇。我你这办着我的，然后上路当他爹怎么个讲不要嘛？这个来那这个来个是。
But they are quite similar, loving kindness and compassion. It's just the way you think. One is, more wishing them happiness, and then the other one is wishing others to be free from suffering. But kind of.
It's different.
그건 가가래 있어.
가서 저거 잡았다 요래다. 찍들래나 찍들래 그래지. 찍래라메. 찍들 각비 넘버래라. 찍들 주비 넘버래라. 잠바다 니지.
One is more in the kind of like a positive sense, and one is in the negative sense.
찍들 등을 딴짜나 삼고라. 찍들 등을 딴짜나 삼고라. 찍들 대화 톰나 삼고라. 어떻게 잡을지 모르겠어.
Yeah, the difference is that one is the wish, as mentioned
Wish
before.
the others to be happy and
Yes.
free
No,
from suffering.
Yes.
And the other one is to eliminate and help the others free from suffering. The other one with the actions. The other one is explorations and one is with action.
What was the
That's
first one?
different.
One is a wish.
One is explorations. You wish
Aspiration. Okay.
Yes, and the other one is with action. You do it to eliminate.
So love is with the aspiration and compassion is with the action, you mean?
Yes.
So 공식으로서 잠바랑 셈바랑다고 그래. 셈바 균롱. 아니 닌제 균롱 많이 번 균롱당 냠도 레카 응원에 록바치야.
오.
단냠도.
真让嘛的，
No, it's not.
应该不是这样。
慈与悲，不是啦，慈是希望人家离苦得乐，然后悲心是因为你看见别人很痛苦，而要把他的痛苦去除，对吧？拔除他的痛苦，那是帮助别人离苦。
他离开那个痛苦想法，有这个想法就对了，不需要必须自己要做，这不需要，必须我自己要做的是在上面一个嘛，那个叫什么？
菩提心，
菩提心下面还有一个，这是增上义了是吧？增上义了。
真上仪了。
哦，就是他，他就是학삼，학삼来咋的，必须得自己来做。학삼用那眼结果个上面，现在等下眼这个上面학삼。
Yeah, so once one
你
has,
这了得过嘛的，把说的等下占那三百大这个
yeah, so as Geshe said before, compassion is the mere wish. May another person or may others be free from suffering. But then it goes a step further. Then one gives rise to the so-called altruistic intention, and that's really the wish. Oh yeah, I want to do something about it. Then that's where the action comes in.
어떤 일 지시는 단다 라로 첨보나는 잠바다 니제니 가서도 조금게 잡으면 매송도. 지름 뭐지 라로 첨.
That's also what Tsongkhapa in his great Lamrim Temple mentions. That one is more like kind of in a positive or positive, or in a sense, may they have happiness, and then the other one is may they be free from suffering.
어떤 일 손시. 그래서 就是长寿大家我们都干嘛讲啊？那的，下着哈，老师
Should
回
we
去，
leave it? Thank you.
老师，哎呀，这是的嘞，哎呀呀。